Welcome to Competitive Pauper episode 16, an interview with PowerT. With me today is Dan,
Hej Kristoffer!
David,
Hey guys.
and of course we have a special guest today, Thomas Anderson.
Hello.
Alright, so we're going to talk today with Thomas about deck building and his various insights into Magic and the ubiquitous blue-black Trinket Mage deck. But first off, what have you guys been playing?
Well, lately I've been playing a lot of Swedish Kitty.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's what
Yeah.
I've been playing too.
Yeah, not exactly the same deck, I guess, but same old, kind of.
Hey, you have a special twist on that too, don't you?
I think it's a normal twist, but yeah, I have been tinkering around with it a little bit. I saw the original builds and tried it out, and it felt a little bit too slow. So I'm playing with the white familiars to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, the Sunscape Familiars.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a really neat twist because a lot of the Azorius Kitty decks, they move from Spreading Seas to Seagate Oracles as their cantrip engine, and part of the utility of the Seagate Oracles is they block really good.
Yeah.
They block the Mog Conscripts and Nettle Sentinels and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Sunscape Familiars for a similar thing. They've still got the 3 toughness and they
Yeah.
also, as you said, accelerate. So it's
Yeah,
good
I really
stuff.
like that because I can do a second turn Reality Acid plus Dreamstalker or Drake Familiar. So I can kill a land on turn 3 or kill whatever on turn 3.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? What you been up to?
I have been up to non-magic things. Lately I haven't played a lot at all. Sadly.
Aw,
Maybe
sad.
waiting for the return of dailies.
I think that's what we're all doing at this point. I've been playing, but the only competitive thing that I've been playing have basically been for my article on Pure. Otherwise, just been doing a lot of testing with Stompy and Goblins. I decided that I don't like Burn at all, so I just can't play it. It's too high a variance. Even like the deck that I really liked, I highlighted last week. I found that I was losing the matches that I should be winning, and it was just for various reasons. So I just abandoned Burn altogether. But
Didn't you play Tempest Draft?
I did, and I completely failed at them. Oh my god, that was I lost so many tickets playing Tempest Drafts.
You never won the Waste Lottery?
No, I never won the Wasteland Lottery, and never won the Wasteland Lottery. I won the I got something that was like 12 or 14 tickets, but other than that, I played 4 drafts and I won 3 games, 3
Ooh.
matches.
Bummer.
Yeah, so I was like, you
The
know
Swiss?
what? Yeah, it was Swiss.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I walked away with 3 Exodus packs and a $14 rare.
Ooh.
And spent $60 to do it, roughly.
Yes. So Tempest drafts were really rough, but I played a lot of Theros Sealed because it's actually the only positive EV thing on Magic Online right now.
It's quite good, isn't it? It's
Yes.
crazy good.
Yes. So I've been tearing those up, mostly as long as I open a pool that has good green and black, then I'm good. Otherwise...
Do they have
yeah.
those only for Theros, or is it M14 as well?
Yes, they only have them for Theros, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah. That's sad. I wonder if they're going to take those away. I'm not sure. When daily events come back? Because they're a lot of fun,
Quite
actually.
possibly.
I actually think I like Theros Sealed better than like Theros Draft. Which is really weird. Normally, nobody likes the Sealed and everybody likes the Draft. But hey, you know, they're positive EV because you get 3 packs for each match that you win. And then you're also opening money rares and stuff. Like, I've opened a lot of money rares. I'm almost complete with the, well, I did complete a Theros block mono black deck, and I'm almost done with like a blue-green profit deck as well. But it's just based off of cracking these Theros rares and mythic rares. So, pretty sweet. So speaking of financing EV, Dan, what do you got for us this week?
It's all about Tempest. As predicted, the cards have crashed horribly, with Counterspell leading the way. Tortured Existence is down 85%. Counterspell almost as much. MTGO traders are right now selling Counterspell for 15 cents. And it will be back to 70 cents in 3 months, 4 perhaps. It will be drafted in Mercurian Masks as well, right before Christmas, but all the other counterspells are still costing about 70-80 cents, except for the Tempest one.
Nice.
So Torture Resistance counterspell, also Mog, the 2 goblins, Mog Raider, Mog Conscripts. Rolling Thunder is coming down, and Diabolic Edict. So get those. But do it during the weekend, which should be their lowest point.
All right.
The weekend?
Yes.
So like the 7th and the 8th and whatever.
Yeah, Saturday. I think the bottom will be on Saturday, the 7th.
All right.
Specific time?
Yes. I actually studied this a lot when Tempest was last drafted last year. By the end of 2012, a year ago. And then it bottomed out 3 days.
Yeah, I'm looking at the price list. I cracked an Oath of Druids. That was the 14 ticket rare that I opened.
Right.
So I sold that immediately. It had only dropped like 20 cents or something. So
I had a finance question for you, Dan. I should have asked you last night, but there was just no chance to. But so I did really well last night in Tempest, and so I ended up with 4 draft sets, basically, of Tempest block that I had available to me. But I didn't know when and how to sell packs at a good time, because as I recall, like once the set stops being heavily drafted, it also depreciates in value, or does that follow the same? And then it doesn't really come back until the next time.
Yes, except for the fact that Wasteland exists. So Tempest boosters are extremely expensive, even when it's not being drafted. But the other 2 are like 1 ticket.
Yeah, something like that.
I haven't really watched what people are selling the draft sets for. My normal response would be to just sell it before the draft stop, because the drop is enormous done in 2 hours from right now. If you miss that, it's probably better to sit on it. But the Tempest boosters themselves are so special. So one tip, if you want to find bots, actually it's very hard to find, but on WikiPrice you can find the bots buying boosters as well, and there are some giving some quite good prices.
how do you do that?
Go to wikiprice.com and then either write the name of the set and the word booster in the search window, or go to the main menu and then find a set called BOO, Boo, which is boosters, and there you'll find all the boosters. But it's like 1,000 different packs and stuff, so it's very hard to find.
I like how you did the Boo as a corny cartoon ghost. That's pretty awesome. All right.
Does that answer your question, David?
Yeah. I didn't know what to do, so when my friend asked me to, he pretty much was like, "I'll buy them from you." It's like, yeah. But had I not bumped into him, I was actually really concerned on how to handle that, because I didn't know if I should sell them immediately, wait, and if I waited, if they'd depreciate to nothing.
The price of Stronghold boosters went down 60 or 70% during this week. It was drafted. So it started out close to 3, and now it's lower than 1.
Interesting. All right, so your advice is wait until Saturday and buy a lot of the staples then?
Yes.
All right.
And I
cool.
think the Pauper cards are actually the best targets in the entire block. Much better than the rares.
Yeah.
And I would be very scared to sit with Wastelands when Vintage Masters comes around.
Yeah. It's insane to me that Wastelands kept so much of their value. I was expecting them to depreciate to like at least under 20, and they just never hit that.
It's already going up, and it was the same last time Tempest was drafted. So
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's easy to overestimate how many uncommons are open.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's 35 uncommons in the set, and these drafts were firing.
35 sounds very little.
Yeah, there's 35 uncommons in Tempest. So
no, there's a 300 card set. Should be like 100 uncommons or 80 at least.
Yeah, there's tons of them. That's why the Waste Lottery is like a thing.
Okay, I thought I'd heard some more that it was 35, but
I think there's a 1 in 35
oh yeah,
chance of opening
135 chance of opening one, right? Because there was like 100 uncommons or
105
uncommons.
And, yeah.
Yep, there you go. Okay, so yeah, I bought the Mogs yesterday, the Conscripts and the Raiders, because I wanted to play some Goblins, and it's like, oh sweet, these things are only 30 cents. Awesome. So
they should. They hit 15 cents last time.
All right, I'll just invest like crazy in them.
No.
Sell them later. Okay, so now that we have finance done, let's get to our main topic. Thomas.
Yes, me.
It's all about you.
Finally.
Finally, we get to talk about
my
the thing I
Dark
like most.
Master, my Sith Lord Thomas.
Darth Dan.
Yeah, you're basically I'm your Padawan in Magic.
If you say so. Well,
unfortunately-
no, go ahead.
So, how did you get started playing Magic?
I started playing Magic in May of 1994. I read about it in an article by Åke Storm in the Swedish magazine called Signals from Sverok, and it sounded like a really cool game. And then I went to the European Championships for Diplomacy, and there was a friend of mine named Roland Isaksson who played the game, so he taught me how to play the game. And I bought some starters, and me and my friend Lagras, he bought the same amount of cards, and we played a lot against each other for a while there. And then in the middle of the summer somewhere, we realized we could also play tournaments. We started doing that, and somewhere along the lines there, I taught Dan how to play also. This was in the middle of the summer, right, Dan?
Yeah, it was
Summer
actually
of 94.
we were practicing for the World Championship of Diplomacy.
Yeah.
And you were disturbing the diplomacy training by making us play Magic instead.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was much more fun.
Well, we still won the World Championship, so what do you want?
Did.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, that's right. Me and Dan first met in December of 1993 in real life, actually, or Meat World, as we say here in Sweden. We were playing the same game then, but we didn't really. I mean, I was Turkey and he was England, and I was eliminated early in that game. But since then, I've taught him how to play Magic, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
So anyway, me and my friend Lagras, we played a lot. Marcus Lagerström, we played a lot for a while, and then we started playing with other people. That we realized there was actually tournaments going on at the local gaming store called Tradition. They had, I guess it was Type 1 then. There was no formats. But I showed up one day and played in the tournament and actually won it. So I won my first tournament ever. So I'm very proud of that. And of course, there was no stopping me then. So I immediately started playing about 35 hours a week or something. So I was playing like a pro. Even before there was a pro tour, I was playing a lot. So then when the pro tour rolled around, I was pretty prepared for that. So I finished 9th in my first pro tour, and then I visited another.
Which year did you go to the pro tour?
What's that?
Which year did you go to the pro tour?
Oh, the very first Pro Tour was in 1996, February of 1996. It was in New York.
Oh, was that the one with the Tempest block was the Pro Tour?
No, Tempest came out in 97.
Okay.
So this was a Type 2 Pro Tour, and you had to have 5 cards at least from every set in the deck or the sideboard. So everybody had serrated arrows somewhere in the deck or the sideboard, because that's pretty much what you could get from Homelands, except for maybe Ishan Shades or Autumn Willow or something. But it was kind of like Type 2 with no sideboard, because you had to have a lot of crap in the sideboard. Me and my friend, yeah, what did you say?
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Set.
Yeah, they did that at Invitational also in '97. I didn't like it then either, but anyway, me and my friend Leon Lindback, we both played Necro, and I finished 9th and he finished top 4. So we were pretty happy with that.
That's insane.
Yeah, out of the two Necro.
And I decided not to. I was invited, and as I was the national champion, having played Thomas's deck in the national championship. But I decided not to go, because I'd been to Worlds in '95, and I thought, like, oh, the Americans are too good. We don't stand a chance. And so I regretted that a lot.
Yeah, so you played, you and the 4th place guy played Necro?
Yeah, Mono Black Necro. And then this led to the Black Summer of '96. Pretty much when everybody was playing Necro.
Thomas invented the Necro deck, pretty much.
Well, I maybe invented competitive Necro decks, because Melvin Falk was the first guy to really play Necro in a tournament back in Sweden, but he didn't really make it work. It was like a so-so deck, but then me and Leon, we worked a lot on it and made it really competitive. So I wasn't alone, but I was an important part of it.
Yeah, that was a big level up for me when I was a kid playing Magic, that I didn't understand why Necro was so good. And
nobody did.
People, a lot of people were thinking, like, wait a minute, you have to pay life for this. What if your opponent lightning bolts you? Then you just lose.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, no, that doesn't work like that at all. It's like,
skip my draw step. I like my draw step.
Yeah, I like getting a free card every turn. Why would I have to pay to draw? That's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't until much later that I realized, oh my god, I should have been playing the crap out of this card when it was still legal in Type 2.
Yeah, talk about sleeper. I mean, it took a year almost for people to realize how good it was.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest sleepers ever, really.
So, rares are stupid. How did you get into Pauper?
Oh, it's all Dan's fault. It's all Dan's fault. Well, after I played like 35 hours a week from 94 to 2000, and then I cut down to maybe 15 hours a week. Still played on the Pro Tour occasionally, but not so much. But then from maybe 2004 until now, I've been just playing, like, now and then. I'll play a lot for a while and then not at all for weeks or even months. And I've been playing a lot of different casual formats, like Singleton and Singleton 100 and Prismatic. And then Dan said, play Pauper, it's fun. What's that? Cube, yeah.
Your cube, yeah.
I have my meat cube, yeah. In real life, I have a big cube. It's called Gold Draft. It predates Cube by at least a decade, I think. Well, it's from the earliest Gold Draft was from like 94 or something. So it's basically Cube, but with extra lands and all the power cards and so on.
Collector's edition, right? So you have a lot of Moxes and Lotuses and stuff.
Yeah, my friend Neil Guthrie, he bought 4 collector's editions and drafted with those for a while.
I remember that. Yeah.
So you could have 4 Black Lotuses in one deck if you were really lucky in the draft.
That was the guy who owned the local gaming stores. He had some resources.
Yes.
The collector's editions, when was that? Those were printed back when...
That's Alpha. Yeah, that's it's the same set as Alpha, and was printed during Unlimited, I think.
Yeah.
And it was just basically every Magic card that existed until then?
No, it was Alpha.
Okay.
But with different card corners. So
well, to nitpick,
different back as well. Yeah.
I think it was beta because they forgot one of the dual lands in Alpha. I think so.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, they forgot the volcanic island in beta. Man, I'm learning so much by listening to If you guys don't listen to Drive to Work with Mark Rosewater, it's awesome. I actually know what you're talking about, where you say collector's edition and like which dual land was missing. It's like I would have no idea what you were talking about if I didn't listen to that podcast.
That's old school. Yeah. Well, so he told me to try it, and I tried it, and I thought it was really cool, and it's really cheap to get into also, so you don't have to worry about all those mythical rares and stuff.
Yeah, you just have to worry about buying Crypt Rats for 9 tickets each.
Yeah, but I think I had those lying around actually.
Yeah, well, I say before the bannings, Crypt Rats were what, 2 or 3 tickets each max. After it wasn't until the bannings that the Crypt Rats really exploded in value.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Well, I think that's enough about Pauper. But you're also wondering how I got into, my approach to deck building.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be that I when a new set came around, I would draft it like crazy, seal decks and draft pre-releases and friends' houses and wherever I could get, or online when online came around. And from that, you get a good feeling of a lot of the cards, and you feel like, okay, this card is good enough not just to draft. This might actually be good enough for a deck. So you try to do that alpha deck thing when you're just going from draft to like block constructed. And sometimes you find gems there. Sometimes you can just look at the list of the cards in that set and find, okay, this is actually a deck that works. Most of the time, though, you will come up with a deck that's not good enough, because someone has a better deck. So then becomes the beta testing when you see these decks that actually work, and you start to figure, okay, I see that this deck is working, but how about if we add this card and take out this card? And that's really where I'm good at, seeing the decks and seeing if they're good or not, and then what does this deck needs to be really good. So the fine tuning, I'm a lot better than that than the actual just alpha building, I would say.
Yeah, so you don't build from scratch. You usually take other lists and tweak them, or draft decks and tweak them?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's most of the time, that's the way it is.
Right, so how did you come up with Trinket then?
Well, Trinket is Dan's fault again. He keeps showing me these decks. He's like, how about this deck? And I say, oh, that sucks. How about this deck? Oh, that sucks. How about this deck? You have a point there. This deck I like. I really liked the Trinket deck right from the start. So I started testing it, and it played the way it looked on paper, really, really good. And since then, me and Dan together, we have worked on changing the deck a little bit, but it's really pretty much the way it was from the beginning. And then sometimes people,
we made a lot of changes some changes to the original list by DC Casanuda. He used to beat me.
Hello?
You cut out there, Dan.
Oh, sorry. I said that the original creator of Trinket was DC Casanuda, who used to beat me up when I was playing Infect, and I just couldn't beat him in the dailies. Yeah. And but we maybe changed at least 8-10 cards.
Yeah, the sideboard is very different, and the deck is somewhat different.
Yes.
Yeah. Alrighty. Excuse me. So,
well, I guess I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of guides your tweaking? Like, why those 8 cards? How do you know these are the cards to cut?
Yeah, well, that's a good. So you want a general, or you want it specific? I mean, in the specific case, it was like he only had 3 Muldrifters, and he had 2 Undying Evils, and I wanted max the Muldrifters and 1 more Undying Evil because I like the combo so much. In general, I mean, when it comes to looking at sideboards, oftentimes you have these sideboard cards that you like in. Okay, so you like if you're playing a lot of blue, you want Hydroblasts, and you don't really care that much how the deck looks. You just think that okay, I'm playing blue, I need Hydroblast or something. Other than that, also look for, does this deck have some kind of mana dump when you get to like 10 mana? Do you have some way of just using all that mana recursively? That doesn't have to be a really powerful card. It's just like Una's Grace or something with retrace, or in the Trinket deck you have the corpse thing. You keep recurring your creature. Yeah, your Grim Harvest thing. So you keep recurring your creatures that way, so you can use all your mana basically with that. So I'm looking for a mana dump. Usually I'm looking for card advantage, because I like card advantage decks. You don't get that with every deck. Some decks are just super aggro. But
yeah,
and then
the aggro decks have to find card advantage in other ways. Like Stompy has Rancor and Safehold Elite and Young Wolf, but that's how they get their card advantage.
They get the card advantage by killing the opponent before they can play all their cards.
Yes, there's that too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, if I'm looking at the deck where I have a good clue to the metagame, I'm also looking, okay, so this deck, what does this deck do against the biggest decks, the most common decks? Does it have game against that? Is there certain cards that you need to beat that deck?
Okay, so how would you attack the metagame as it is right now on Goldfish for Pauper? We have Delver and Mono Black Control are the big decks.
Yeah, well, Trinket is very good against Delver and Mono Black Control. The Mono Black Control has gained those Grey Merchants, which they are really good, which should be a good boost for the Mono Black Control, but still, Mono Black Control was like 25% to win or something before against Trinket, so even if they get the boost, it's still not going to be big enough for a boost. And when it comes to Trinket, since they have such an insane amount of creature removal, it's going to be hard for them to get to get good commitment to get the Grey Merchant to actually hit for a lot. So in their case, the Corrupts might actually be a bigger life gain thing than the Grey Merchants. So I'm not really afraid of that. So I think Trinket's a good against both those decks.
Yeah, the problem though is that the next three lowest decks on the Goldfish meta are the Familiars, Esper Familiar, which Trinket pretty much can never win.
Yes, a very bad matchup, yes.
Then
it's not that bad. We were 44% when they had Fisher. So it was definitely the easier Fisher deck to beat. Yeah. It's still creature-based against a deck with a lot of removal.
Alright, then you have Burn.
That is true. Yeah, that's true. But I was just about the Familiars. If I have 50% against something with Trinket, I think that's really bad. That's because I usually used to having 75 or something. So, yeah, but the Burn also. Yeah, it's not a really good. I mean, but you still win a fair amount of the time.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're crushing it like you do with a Swedish Kitty. I think I have 9-0 with a Swedish Kitty against the Burn. So there's better options against those decks.
And then Urzatron.
Yeah, that's. I haven't played against Urzatron with Trinket. Azorius Kitty crushes Urzatron, but that, yeah, I'm supposed to have a really good answer here. Well, the answer is that when we played against the blue-red Iset decks with the Trinket, we were doing pretty well, not exceptionally well, but pretty well. But then we played against the green-blue decks with Temporal Fissure, we were doing really bad. So I guess the Fissure is a really big card here, and last time I checked, they don't have access to that. So then we should stand a chance, even though we can't destroy their lands like some decks can.
Yeah, I say the thing with Urzatron now is they're really aiming to go for the big Rolling Thunder kill, and that was usually how Is It Post killed you guys, right? Was with the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, or the Fissure, yeah. So it's either or.
Yeah. So yeah, the Tron is going to cycle through the deck a lot faster too. They're going to hit that Rolling Thunder more frequently than Is It Post would, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
so. Is that you need to Thunder twice almost in that deck, or a lot more.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get Urza lands up to that amount.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're going to end up with so there's going to be somewhere in between the hopeless matchup against Simic Stormpost and the fairly good matchup against Is It Post. It's going to be somewhere in the middle there, and I can't really tell you where, and I would need a lot of playtesting to figure out exactly where you are on that scale.
Alright.
How about Affinity, the new version of the Perilous? Because I saw Dan having some difficulty with that.
Yeah, that was one match. It definitely strengthens Affinity a lot versus Trinket.
But the Trinket
That they
still
draw
has...
so many
yeah.
cards.
We used to crush Affinity, so maybe we just beat them then instead of crushing them. Or... That's what I
probably
think.
likely.
Alright, well, say it's just Trinket seems to be it is effectively not in the metagame anymore. So something's hating it out. We still haven't really figured out what that is yet, though.
It's a very good question, and me and Dan have been asking ourselves, why don't more people play Trinket? Not that I'm really that concerned. I mean, it's not like I'm dependent on people playing it. I'm just consternated why people don't play it since it's such a good deck. Maybe they don't understand it. Maybe they're making a lot of play errors that they don't make with other decks, or maybe it's like, I don't want to play two colors. I mean, mono black looks like this deck, but it's not as good because the card drawing is not nearly as good. So, but they figure out it's Impler, so maybe I just play that instead.
I just today read a piece of Patrick Chapin's book, Next Level Deck Building, where he categorizes all Magic decks in 16 sort of types of decks, and one of them is something he calls non-blue control mid-range, which is where mono-black control happens. And it was very clear that it was also about Trinket, pretty much, that because Trinket does not have permission, it sorts as a non-blue control deck in his world. And he said a lot of interesting things there, where these decks, their difficulty are decks with better endgames, like the Fisher decks, and probably like Ursatron, and even Affinity done with Atog Fling.
Yeah. So that's my suspicion there, is actually that Affinity is what's making Trinket bad right now, is that Atog Fling combo is just, it's too much.
Trinket was 5 in the metagame, and then 3 things happened. Mono Black Control got Gary, the Grey Merchant, and Affinity got Perilous Research, and the Tron deck appeared. So it's one of those, or a combination.
So I've played a lot of Mono Black Control, for videos and various reasons, and what I came to the conclusion of was that Mono Black Control is just so much more consistent than Trinket, because a lot of the times I'd just stumble on on the Trinket's mana base, and I wouldn't be able to play anything until turn 3. And you can't do that against, Burn or Stompy or Goblins or even White Weenie, because they'll close the game out before you ever had a chance to get into it with land. So that's my theory on why nobody plays Trinket instead of Mono Black Control.
Yeah, well, it happens. Yeah, it happens.
It does happen, and whenever Trinket operates properly, it's much stronger at controlling the game than Mono Black Control is.
Yeah.
It's just I think the consistency is just what kills it.
But you have not been playing Trinket, Thomas. You've been playing something else, right?
Yeah, I've been playing BorosKitty because I took a long break, and then I came back, and I figured I had other things to do as well. A lot of the times when I sit down to play Magic online, I don't want to devote 4 hours. I'm going to devote 1 or 2 hours, because there's actually other things I'm supposed to do, and so on. So I just play some in the tournament practice room, and I figured I don't need to play any more Trinket Mage. I know how the deck works. I will not get any better playing it. And it's fun to play something else. I've been trying the BorosKitty red-white and the Kitty blue-white decks. And especially the BorosKitty I played a lot. And it's a control deck, so with lots of card drawing, and that's the stuff I like. So that's why I'm playing that. And it's doing extremely well against some decks, and surprisingly bad against some other decks.
Well, you know what? We have an BorosKitty expert on the podcast here. If you want to ask him,
the very creator of it.
Yeah. Well, do you find that like the green-white slivers?
Green-white anything is a terrible matchup at the moment. Slivers, if you're asking about Slivers, yes, that's probably the worst matchup, period.
Oh wow! Well, I have 10-7 against them, but I would think that I would get more because it seems like such an easy deck to beat, but it's not, I guess.
No, it's really like the way I beat Affinity is you time out like they have the Mirror Enforcer, you have the Dream Stalker to block it.
Yeah.
And you maybe like Journey to Nowhere and Etog, and get another Dream Stalker out to block a Carapace Order. Stuff like that. You got to line up the proper removal to the proper attack that they're posing for you. Well, with Slivers, blocking is just almost never an option because they
flanking
can always attack into you with the flanking Sliver, and so all your one-power guys are just unable to block, and then so they can just keep turning guys sideways even if you have a few blockers, and then eventually they get their guys big enough where your guys all die when you start blocking, and then a lot of your removal just doesn't work because it doesn't like permanently exile stuff. So even if you Faith Fed or something, the bonus still is granted. So
well, my deck is slightly different than yours, of course. But,
I don't know what your list is exactly. It sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, in the sideboard, I have 3 Last Breath and 2 Reprisal. And ironically, against Slivers, I actually bring in both. I'm not supposed to do that, but that's the only time I do that because it actually works. But the thing is, otherwise you have Journey to Nowhere, which is really great until they play Partition Scorn, and then it's horrible because you just die when they do that. So, and also, Fate's Fetters, like you say, Fate's Fetters doesn't really work on the Lords. Oblivion Ring also dies to the Patrician Scorn. But are you saying that you have a losing record against Slivers, or?
Yeah, I do. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but and I think I am actually. The more I think about it, the more I think that the flanking Sliver is the one I really need to take out, even over the Lords.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah,
and so I'm starting to think maybe I need to approach the matchup differently, but I'm kind of at a point where the only time I beat them is if I get lucky with the Spreading Seas. So, like, I don't know if you're still playing those, but...
I have to.
You are?
I have to play them. Oh, yeah, I have to play the Spreading Seas, otherwise the deck wouldn't work for me.
That's how I feel, too. But I guess there's times where you can... Since I have no idea what's in their hand, but if they play, like, Forests and Plains, and then you can Spreading Seas the right one to cut them off whatever Lord they have in hand. Those are the games I can win. But that's seldom the case.
I'll say, why do you feel like the spreading, like you have to play Spreading Seas? 'Cause a lot of the decks have moved straight over to Seagate Oracle instead as their engine.
Well, it's 1 more mana, it's for one thing, it's very good against the Ursatron decks, and also I can't bounce the Seagate Oracle with the Drake. I guess maybe they have stopped playing Drakes then.
Yeah, they have.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I also, since I'm playing the Sunscape Familiar, my deck works a little bit different that way also. I guess.
That makes sense. I was just thinking, like, because I played the deck, both variations of it, and I find I can just 1-for-1 swap Seagate Oracles for Spreading Seas if I want to.
Well, I think I would rather have Spreading Seas than Seagate Oracle at this point.
I think it just depends on the meta that I'm expecting. Like, if I'm expecting a lot of Delver, then Seagate Oracle's a lot better.
They're both obviously good at certain times. I've had 4 Spreading Seas in play, and my opponent has 4 islands and is playing mono black. That's all the lands he has. So
I have done that to mono black control players before, where I drew, like, he played a swamp, or I was on the draw or something, and he played another swamp, and then I started Spreading Seas, and he missed a land drop or something. So then I drew all 4 Spreading Seas, and I cut him off with double black mana, and he couldn't cast anything because everything that he had required double black mana.
Yeah, so I win then because he had no black mana at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the Saurius Kitty, I've gone 3 and 6 against Delver Fiend. Is that something that you guys recognize?
I don't think that's the case for me anymore.
No, so you have a better record against Delver Fiend.
Yeah, I think it's slightly positive, but it is like you can't beat the times that they have like turn 2 or like turn 3 Kiln Fiend with Apostle's Blessing backup, something like that. That's just like unbeatable.
Yeah.
But if your only answer is a journey, but like if you can, I mean, I don't know how many Hydroblasts you're running in the sideboard, but
3.
Yeah, I bring in all my Hydroblasts, I bring in my Circle Protection Reds, and
okay.
I usually don't have trouble with them anymore. The first few times, I mean, they still have those like nut draws where you just like actually can do nothing about it because they just have all the answers. But
yeah, I bring in 3 Hydros and 3 Last Breaths for those. But,
Last Breath seems like a really good sideboard card.
It does, but that one's kind of shady because they can just cast any instant, right?
Yeah, but if they play a creature on turn 2, I can do that, and then so any spell they have is a protection, but if they're tapped out, it works anyway. But Last Breath, I brought them in for the Delver matchup because I was losing to Delver. Now I come back some 5-4 against Delver, still not very good, but the Last Breath do make a difference there, and Last Breath works against a lot of other decks also. And you don't care that much that you give away 4 lives because you're a control deck, so you're gonna slowly win by attacking them for 8 or something per turn.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. How do you... Okay, so how would you sideboard for Mono Black Control as the BorosKitty player?
I bring in 1 Deep Analysis and the 3 Last Breaths, and I take out the 4 Familiars.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because I think Last Breaths are actually really good against Mono Black Control too.
I don't think they're great, but the thing is, like you want to kill like shitting rats and stuff, even though it's bad economy because the shitting rats already did the thing with you turn a card from your hand back on your deck, and then shitting rats used to be a double threat because he's a dork and he does that effect when he comes into play. But with the merchants, he becomes a triple threat because now he also does 2 damage when this Grey Merchant comes into play. So then it's actually okay to trade Last Breaths or Journey to Nowhere or something with the rats. Yeah. So they don't hit you for 20 or something. But and also the Familiars, they always hit the ground and then they die immediately to their removal. So and then it's just 1 for 1. So might as well take them out anyway. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. See, and I would have kept in the Familiars thinking, hey, I want to, race them with reality acids and stuff, but okay.
I'm not. Yeah, it might. I might actually be in the wrong here, but the way it's played, I figured this is better.
Do you have Circle of Protection Black?
No, I don't have that. I figured I don't need it because I'm still winning against Mono Black Control about 75% of the time.
Yeah, I feel like
and the Grey Merchant will kill me anyway.
Yeah, Gary's the only thing in that deck that I really am concerned about when I'm playing them. And sometimes they can have like very good tempo-based draws and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they can have that sometimes, and sometimes they can have lots and lots of discards, so you don't get started really.
Yeah.
So there's some different ways for them to win, but most of the time, 75% or so, I win.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and I've gone to... Like, I think Okiba Gang needs to be... Okiba Gang Shinobi needs to be in Mono Black Control decks, specifically for you guys' types of decks, these mid-range / control decks. It's like
absolutely.
Okiba Gang just crushes those decks.
That is the card I fear.
Yeah. That's the card everyone fears, and nobody runs it. I'm so glad when I run into somebody who's not running Okiba Gangs.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I actually have a chance. You know what? I can beat them before they get to 6 mana, or I can counterspell their 6 mana Corrupt, or I can remove their creatures so that Gary won't kill me or something like that. But man, if they have an Okiba Gang and they hit with it once, I'm just so depressed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always trying to desperately play, block everything and kill everything so they can't get a gang through somehow. And when they get through, I'm like, okay, I hope. Oh, they didn't have one. They had one. Oh, I'll probably lose.
Yeah. My exact thoughts whenever we go to blockers phase, I'm like, please don't have an Okiba gang. Please don't have an Okiba gang.
Exactly.
Please don't ninja me. Like, it's worse than whenever like Delver stops in the blocking phase. You're like, oh man, I'm about to get ninja'd from Delver. Okay, well, you know what? At least I can beat that.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't beat no Okiba gang.
That's worse. That's. You praise the Lord every time they skip the second attack phase there after blockers phase.
I'm looking through all these mono black control decks on Goldfish, and none of them are running Okiba gangs. Like I've seen one Okiba gang out of the whole group of people.
We should make like an Okiba gang deck. Just
we have one. It's called mono black control.
No, like a better one.
A better one?
Yeah.
The
Can you
demands.
have a blue-black ninja deck with both Okiba gang and
both
Ninja of the Deep
ninjas.
Powers?
You know,
That's going to be so fast.
Well, people have tried that, and what I always find is I always just beat those decks because they don't actually have a plan.
They play some dork, you kill that, and then they sit there with the ninjas.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with it. Right, that's why I only run 2 Okiba gangs in my mono black control list. Which, by the way, I have to plug my article. I played mono black control for my article for Pure this week, and I played. Whoa, that's not the right one. Where is it? Pure MTGO. Okay. Anyway, I played mono black control with 2 Okiba gangs in the deck, but I'm also playing Grey Merchants, so I got like really greedy basically. I was like, I want it all.
Yeah.
So, no, the way that Okiba gang is so devastating in mono black control is because they have the Okiba gang and then they back it up with removal.
Yeah.
Right. So, anytime you get Okiba ganged and then I guess verdict you, and then you draw some dork and then I deadweight it and then I hit you again with Okiba gang, and pretty soon your hand is empty. And anything you play is just going to be met with removal, because that's what I draw removal, more and more removal with Phyrexian Ragers and Sign in Bloods, and that's not even mentioning like Kumbai Witches that are just destroying your X1s. So that's why Okiba gang kicks so much butt in mono black control, and it sucked anywhere else, right? The blue black ninja decks, they're just not doing it right.
Yeah.
It's like you said, they get stuck with ninjas in their hand whenever you kill their Ravenous Rats or Chittering Rats or Seagate Oracles or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're not even advocating playing 4 Okiba gang Shinobis in your black deck, just 2 or maybe 3, but not 4 anyway.
Yeah.
Because that was too much.
No, that's what I'm advocating.
Too many? Is that what you're advocating? Too many?
Yeah, too many. I think that's what I mean. I want to make a deck that's like wants 4. Such a thing.
Oh. You want to create a demand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wants to make a deck that wants 4 Okiba gangs because they're that good.
And then add 4 Okiba gangs to that deck.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
It sounds like a match.
But when you add
similar.
when you add those 4 Okiba gangs, you're going to take out some cards. So then the demand for those 4 guys is going to be less.
Yeah.
Or?
I'm just waiting for the hand you draw like 5 swamps and Okiba gang, 2 Okiba gangs in your opening hand. You're like, ugh. And then you mulligan and you have like 1 swamp and 3 Okiba gangs and like a Sign in Blood. And you're like, ugh.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer than when you can have like 7 ninjas in your opening hand, and that's much better.
7. That sounds like an awful hand.
But then you have to have at least 7 ninjas in your deck. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I linked that Pure article in the show notes, and I will submit that for the show notes for the podcast as well. So what do we got? If you were playing in 8-mans today, Thomas, what would you play?
I'll probably play a Trinket deck. I know it so well, and I trust it. Mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Now, do you think that's actually like the best meta call right now? Or you think it's just because you know the deck the most?
No, if there was another deck that I thought was a better meta call, I would play that, because I'm pretty good at picking up decks and playing them. I don't have to practice that much.
Okay.
But I think just that Trinket, it's even when they don't have. Okay, so it's not very well matched against some of the decks out there, but still, it's the raw power makes it good enough anyway. You have such a large amount of discard that you can discard their combos if they have any without countering them, and yeah, I just think it's a really good deck. That's why I would pick it anyway.
I think one thing that people underestimate with Trinket is the difficulty of playing it, because I'm 670 matches with the deck, and I'm still like way worse than Thomas is playing it. So it's I think a lot of people just picked it up, played it, and then discarded it. They never really learned to play it. There's a lot of intricacies in it.
That's a good point. I can't relate to that kind of gaming skills or lack of. So.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, that might be true.
So Dan, your overall win percentage is like 67%. What about yours, Thomas?
With the Trinket deck,
Yeah.
it's was it 74% or something?
Oh wow, so you're way better than Dan. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that big of a difference, but it's a difference, and it's statistically significant.
Oh yeah, statistically you're 7% better. That's a lot better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm even better as a person, you know. But
yeah, well. Oh, Dan's kind of shady, so.
yeah, you should see him in Meat Life.
Yeah, in Meat
Wait, I
World,
thought
I'm
it was
really
Meat
shady.
World. We're changing this to Meat Life now?
In real life, I mean. He's even
Yeah.
shadier in real life.
Oh,
Just ask his wife.
yeah.
Don't do that.
You'll
Well,
regret it.
Tell you what, Dan, if you don't talk to my wife ever, I won't talk to your wife ever.
Okay, sounds good.
There we go. So Thomas, what do you think about when dailies come back?
When dailies come back, I might play some dailies, but I'm gonna be vacationing for a while now in December, so I'm not gonna be playing a lot at all. But I might play some Trinket, or maybe, I mean, BorosKitty is. I don't think BorosKitty is as good, but at least I know it pretty well, and it's a fun deck to play. So I might actually try that also. It depends on how the metagame looks and so on.
Okay.
But I think there's plenty of other decks that are good also. But for me, I want to draw lots of cards, and that limits the choices somewhat.
Yeah, I guess if you want to draw lots of cards, there's really only a few decks that do that.
Mm.
Okay. So, anybody else got anything to add? Go ahead and move towards closing this out. Alright, how can we get in contact with you, Tomas?
Do you want? You want the email now or the?
Nah, Twitter or...
listeners, like...
Yeah, Twitter
listen-
or MTGO.
Magic.
Well, I don't have Twitter. I guess I have Facebook that I check once in a while, and I have email.
But you're not... you like when people chat with you on Magic Online, right?
Absolutely, yeah. If you see me online, yeah, and I'm not currently in a tournament or something,
Yeah.
or playing in a tournament match, sure, I'll chat with people. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah,
I'm
so-
PowerT on Magic Online.
Yeah, that's Power_T, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Alright, so, Dan?
Yeah. You can reach me at YouTube, MagicGatheringStrat, or on MTGOstrat.com.
Alright. And David?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at ShapeWaffle5. I also do the Thoughtcast series for MTGO Strat, and so you can comment in my articles. Yeah.
I forgot to do a plug earlier. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to add my closing statements along with this. The Pauper Battle Royale, hosted by Casting Commons J-Series, returning. It's a player-run event, and by far the best EV on Magic Online, and certainly for player-run events. So check that out, castingcommons.com. So there's the plug
This
for
Sunday,
them.
right?
It is this Sunday, December 8th at 12 Eastern Time. So check
I
it
have
out.
something to plug as well.
Okay, go ahead.
It's much less serious than play run events. Me and Brennan Cerulean and Bava are doing a Magic Advent Calendar. So on YouTube, there will be a video every day, and it's already getting out of hand. We are on December 4th, so it'll probably get quite crazy. The basic idea is we present one deck every day and talk about it for 2 minutes, but it has already gone out of control, so yeah, it's pretty casual.
All right, let's check
Check
that out. All right, so I guess now that the plugs are done, I'm Chris. You can contact me on Twitter at cweaver8518 or on Magic Online Cweaver. So thank you guys for listening. This has been Competitive Pauper Cast.